Hi everyone. So today I'm just doing a little solo cast and I haven't actually done one of these for a while. I've been interviewing lots of amazing guests recently and I just thought it was about time that maybe I come on and I talk to you a little bit about my journey. And I know that recently I've got a lot of new followers and listeners, and I think it'd be nice just to sort of introduce myself again, really, and just talk a little bit about how I actually came to be an entrepreneur and how I am where I am at this moment in time, where it all began. So I want to rewind back to, I suppose, actually, where it all began, which was when I first started, my very first business, which was actually in the beauty industry. Now, it all, it was never actually in my plan. And this is the thing with a lot of entrepreneurs, you'll find it was never in their plan either. It just happened. So basically, back in 2009, I had just returned to work. I was working as a flight attendant at the time. I just returned to work after maternity leave. I had a almost 1 year old at the time. My lovely daughter, who is can't believe it, is now nearly 18. And yeah, I returned to work part time. I was with her dad at the time. We were planning to get married. We'd booked our wedding. We'd paid a deposit. We'd been together probably about 3 years, I think, roughly, at the time. And yeah, within a week of probably me returning to work after maternity, I received a redundancy letter. At the time, the world was going through a global recession, and many airlines they didn't survive. Luckily, the airline I worked for did survive, but it obviously needed to make cutbacks, and redundancies was one of the way they did that. So obviously now I look back and it was a blessing in disguise, but at the time it honestly felt like my whole world was absolutely falling apart like two pieces because I had, or so I thought, I had my life mapped out for me. I had a baby. I was about to get married. I was actually training to become a pilot at the time as well. And I had a stable, secure job. And within that week, I had a letter telling me that I was going to be made redundant. And also, my daughter's dad's ended our relationship. I won't go into too much detail about that, but at the time, it was indescribable. The pain, it's just like someone had just pulled out a rug from beneath me and I just was free falling and I did not have a clue what direction I was going in. I was on my own very quickly as a single mother with my daughter, and I found myself in a very dark place. Um, I was lucky I had friends around and family to support, but it was the hardest time of my life. I was only a 24-year-old girl at the time as well. And, I look back now and I didn't know what I know now. I wasn't very wise. I didn't really know how to regulate myself emotionally. I definitely didn't know what a healthy relationship was. And here I was as a mother navigating single motherhood and unemployment. And yeah, very quickly I found myself needing to survive alone. And I just realized this wasn't how I wanted to live. So I actually went and retrained and had a complete switch of career. I actually trained first of all as a nail technician. So I did a nail course. And now, honestly, it was not my forte. I was not great at it at all, especially, like the nail extensions with these acrylics and things. And oh my goodness, I was not great at that at all, but I pursued with it. I kept with it, and I retrained in other beauty treatments as well. And very quickly, I actually built up a great client base. I based myself out of my mother's hair salon. I had a beauty room, and yeah, very, very quickly, I built that business. And at the time, there wasn't an awful lot of competition around it. It just was when like treatments were coming out, such as the lash extensions and the brow treatments and things were just starting to gain traction and become really popular. And I think I sort of entered the industry just at the right time when, it was all quite a novelty. And so I very, very quickly filled my books and my client base, and actually I was at capacity. And it was great. I absolutely loved my time working in the industry. And I actually won several industry awards as well. I was crowned, I say crowned. I won the title of Beauty Therapist of the Year. That was back in 2011, 2012, I believe. Maybe just before. I can't actually remember the year now. But yeah, I mean, I actually, that was my first sort of, that was my first experience of building something from the ground up, from nothing. And I realized I really had a knack for running a business. And obviously, it was only me at the time, but I loved the freedom it gave me. Even though I was busy, I still felt free. I had no one telling me what to do. I could set my hours myself, and I felt in control of my life. And I realized at that point that there was no going back to ever working for someone else again. Like, this is how it had to be now. I had the taste of entrepreneurship and being a business owner, and that was my path. That was it. And then I actually went on to meet my daughter, sorry, my son and my younger daughter's dad. We got married. I had my son, who's now 14, and then later on my daughter, who is 9. And this is where the hula hoop comes into the story here, because that was a complete fluke. Now, I have always been really interested in fitness and dance and staying active. And gosh, so after I had my son, when my son was born, I was looking for a way to tone up after having my second baby. And I stumbled upon a YouTube channel where someone was hula hooping. And then I found a lady who taught like a class fairly local to me. And at the time, there's nothing like this around. And I tried it and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I realized as well, it was actually bringing me the results that I really wanted in terms of toning my core area. And it was fun. It was really, really fun and addictive. So I bought myself a hula hoop. And then family and friends would come round and they'd pick up this hoop. They'd start playing around with it. And I realized, this is a really fun thing to do. And I was like, maybe I'm going to try and start a class. There's not really anything around. So I started my own hula hoop class in my local village hall. And it kind of just started then, like the ripple effect of it just began at that point because people heard about it. And like one week, someone was like, oh, I'll bring my friend next week. And then they're like, oh, we're bringing this group of people. And then seriously, after that, it just was fully booked. Like I couldn't fit any more people into the room. These hoops are quite big as well. They take up space. And so I then had to put on a second class and then a third and then a fourth and then a fifth and so on. And then soon after that, my daughter, my older daughter, it was her primary school. One of her teachers asked me to go in and do a demo with the kids. I was like, oh yeah, that would be fun. So I went in, did a demo with the kids, and oh my gosh, they absolutely loved it. So for those of you who aren't familiar with hula hooping, like, yes, it's a hula hoop and you just put it on your waist and you wiggle. But there are a multitude of tricks and moves that you can actually do with the hula hoop, like tons and tons. And the kids absolutely, oh my gosh, they could not get enough. They didn't even want to go home when the time was up, you know. They wanted to carry on, and it just became addictive. So I set up a series of after school clubs. First of all, in this one school, but then, just the same as the adults classes have got a ripple effect happened. It was like another school found out about it and asked me to go in, and then another and another and another. And so obviously at this point I was I was actually still running the beauty salon. I had my children, two children at this point. My third wasn't born at this point. And I was running these classes in the evenings and after school. And oh my gosh, I was at capacity. And when I say I burnt out, I mean I burnt out because I was juggling absolutely everything. And I realized at that point I had to make a pivot and I had to come out of the beauty industry and focus on the hula hooping, because actually, as much as I love the beauty, I realized that I was onto something with this hooping, and it lit me up. And I mean, like, I was excited every single day that I was going to teach a class. Like, I would do it myself in my garden, and I would just, oh, it became my life. It was more than a passion. It became a purpose to spread joy. And it was, when I look back now, I realize it was the very start of the mission I'm now on with my company, GlobeFit. So I realized after a while that I probably needed to get more qualifications, especially around fitness. So I went and qualified. I got my level two exercise to music, so I could actually teach in gyms as well. And I started to basically teach more classes throughout the day. Obviously, I'd given up my beauty business at that point, sadly, but obviously had to. And then, it just became bigger and bigger, and I realized I had to get back up and support. It couldn't just be me. When I started, sometimes, I was ill, like I had to cancel classes, and I realized I couldn't do that. I needed help. I needed support. So this is the point where I decided to train up other people. And I actually wrote an instructor training for the hula hooping. And then that was like another ripple effect. It's like, wow, like someone found out about it, they told someone else, and they told someone else. And then soon enough, I was traveling actually a lot to deliver the instructor training. I would travel to Ireland to deliver one. I was traveling across the UK to offer the training, and then people across, like, even like from Australia, the US, wanted to do the training. So I decided to create an online model for it, which is still being sold today. And from there, I could talk so much about this, but so many doors opened. Obviously, when 2020 happened and the pandemic, everything had to go online, and that's when the World Hula Hoop Championships was also born. That's another story for another day, but that was massive, and that opened a whole window of opportunity for me. And then from there, again, another fluke. I got into childcare. Now, this was through originally like the first school I ever taught hoop classes in, which was my daughter's primary school. And there was a scheme in 2021 that came in, which was funded by the Department of Education in the UK, and it was known as the HAF scheme, which stands for Holiday Activities and Food. And it's honestly like one of the most amazing, purposeful, I say, parts of my work. It's the most purposeful thing I think I've ever done, bar giving birth to my kids, is getting involved in this project, because what it does is it offers children who are in receipt of free school meals, or they perhaps come from, what's the word? The best way to describe it is, they're underprivileged. They wouldn't be able to access holiday clubs normally. Their family funds wouldn't allow it. And actually, very, very sadly, a lot of these children during the school holidays will go really hungry. They might go a whole day, sometimes, sadly, like even a few days without a hot meal. And so this scheme came into place in order to be able to offer a place for children to go where they could access a hot meal and a whole range of activities, and especially physical activity. And this is where I came in because obviously with the hoop club that I was doing, it kind of fit perfectly. It's like, oh, do some hula hooping. We'll bring in hot meals for the children, and we'll do some other activities. And that's how it all started. And again, like everything else, that was domino effect. There was another location, another school found out about it, asked if we'd go in and work in partnership with them. So we did. And very, very quickly, we went from having one of these holiday clubs to 25 in the space of 2 years. And this is where it's at today. And this is my brand Globefit, which still offers the hula hooping, and it offers childcare. And more recently, we've just actually launched a new training academy as well to train up new personal trainers, yoga teachers, Pilates teachers, kids fitness instructors, and nutritionists. So, and it's adding so much more on all the time. So I'm going to actually talk a little bit more about brand Globefit and what it's like now doing, but I kind of just wanted to sort of talk about my journey really and how I got into it. And I just wanted to make this a short one for today, but basically it all started from rock bottom. And you don't have to have a rock bottom to propel you into something great, but it is normally from those rock bottoms that amazing things are built. So, I hope this inspires you, my story, and especially if you're going through a rock bottom right now, because often those times are, I believe anyway, come to test us and to propel us into the biggest missions of our lives. And for me now, I'm so grateful for that rock bottom, even though it was painful at the time. It came with the most amazing life lessons, and it brought me to my mission. So I'm going to wrap it up there today. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight into my background and how I actually came to be Hula Hannah, founder of Globefit, jumping through hoops, mentor, everything else that I do. But yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in another episode. As you can see, if you're watching me on camera now, I'm sat here in a dressing gown, just chilling out. Just felt like an impromptu solo cast right now. But thank you for listening to me. And I would love to connect with you. If this story resonates with you, I'd love to know. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at I am Hannah Charlotte, and you can follow my company Globefit at Globefit. And I will speak to you all soon. Thanks, guys.